What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. The day after Thanksgiving. I really hope that you guys tune into yesterday's episode. If you did not, please make sure you do, just because at the end of the day, it's really talking about the things that you're grateful for, right? Specifically for me, what I'm grateful for. And there's some golden nuggets in there that I dropped. So if you guys have not yet listened to that, make sure you do, because at the end of the day, everybody has some pain, some suffering. Everybody is going through, battles in their own lives. And I think that message is clear just to kind of get you to think differently. And hey, that's my job as a coach. When I help guys, when they get signed up for our coaching program, like, sure, personalized meal plans, sure, personalized workouts, and, sure, personalized check-in videos. But at the end of the day, it's really about just getting these guys to think differently. And that's all I'm trying to do, is just use my own personal story to get you thinking differently. The coaches come on here with me. They help me out with, once again, getting you to think differently. And then, our clients, some of their testimonials, their success stories. So what I want, the intentions for today's podcast, is just to get you thinking differently. Specifically, we're going to be talking about why most guys fail. And once again, I want you just thinking differently. I talk about it all the time, right? You guys know from the Wolfpack Mentality podcast, your army, your tribe, everything like that. And that's a big reason why guys succeed. But I think the main reason why, honestly, most guys fail, and this doesn't have to be just burning body fat. This doesn't have to be just, anything with, health and fitness. It could be anything, anything. And I want you thinking differently, okay? So I'll put it to you like this, okay? If you're, let's say, I don't know, 15, 16, whenever kids get their temps these days, they don't just immediately go and drive around on the freeway, like immediately getting their temps. They have to first sit down in class, learn more about like the car, the vehicle, obviously the laws of driving on the road. But then after that, they're going to typically like an abandoned parking lot, at least what I had to do, right? And learn obviously how to drive the car. And then the streets and then the suburbs, everything like that, before you get to the freeway. But hear me out. Who's there helping that individual every step of the way? There's an instructor, right? A coach, right, for your health and fitness might be the same thing when it comes to being an instructor. You go to college, there's professors, okay? You're working for somebody, you have a boss. So typically, there's somebody that's higher up, a superior, right? That is giving you guidance, giving you knowledge, and really just helping you out as far as, okay, you want to do this, here's the next steps on how to do that. The problem, honestly, and hear me out, why most guys fail, and this is going to piss off a few people, because as men, we think we know everything under the sun, right? Especially when there's YouTube and Google, all this free information. But let me ask you a real good question, and just once again, think differently on this one. If we have all this free information on how to burn body fat, on how to get off our medications, on how to have more sustained energy, how to have more confidence, how to improve our sex life, everything like that, when it comes to burning body fat, increasing your testosterone levels, why is it that nearly 50% of the US population is considered obese? Why? Free information, right? But yet, why is it that most people are fat, lazy, and typically broke? It's because one thing, two things I should say, but mainly one thing. That one thing is their ego. And I guess the second thing is that they love living inside their comfort zone. It's comfortable, right? You're never really faced with adversity inside your comfort zone. You're just kind of just like, hey, life is great. And then what happens? Life throws you a curveball, which it's the inevitable. It always will. And then you basically, drop the ball on that. You strike out because you've never really been tested nor testing yourself. And I think the reason why, let's face the facts here. Back to driving, right? My driving instructor that was, doing the written test and kind of teaching me everything like that was a different instructor from when I was actually learning how to drive the car. But nonetheless, right? When I'm learning how to drive the car, that individual didn't just say like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I'm like, "I'm Joe," right? And they're like, "Okay, cool. Like you got your temps, everything like that. Let's hit the freeway." It didn't work like that, you know. I right was scared at first, right, learning how to drive the car because I never done this before, and eventually you had to work your way up, right? And here's the thing: if that driving instructor, which you guys want to know a fun fact about this? I kid you not. Um, I just want to say this real quick because it's hilarious. The very first accident I've ever been in was me actually hitting my driving instructor. So I was about 16 at the time. I had my very first girlfriend, and I remember I got my car. I got like my license, car, everything like that. And this is probably like honestly a month into dating. And I was like, oh, that's my driving instructor. That probably taken that student to the mall. That's where they took me to learn how to drive a car. And I kid you not, I actually rear-ended them, and I felt so bad. And side note over with, but it just goes to show you that like at the end of the day, life's always gonna throw curveballs, right? So now you know a little bit more, right? Just being a little personal with you guys about Coach Joe, right? So back to the driving instructor analogy here. That she right the individual that was teaching me how to drive a car, we first had to start off small, right? I remember she had to put down these cones in the abandoned parking lot, everything like that, going over maneuverability, going over like how to actually properly, drive a car and use it. And it wasn't until, I felt prepared, but at the same time, she was pushing me saying, "Hey, listen, dude, you got this. Let's just go on the road a little bit." And I'm scared, right? Like there's cars like I've never done this before. I was nervous. But hey, with her guidance, she was able to teach me and help me out. And then from there, slowly progressed more and more and more until we got to the freeway, right? But it's not like I just got in a car, did this all on my own, and then next thing you know, I'm on the freeway. If that was the case, I probably wouldn't be here today. I probably would have died, honestly. Like, and it's one of those things where every single time in your life, because I'm saying that the car analogy because everybody drives a car, at least most people drive a car, right? That is our audience that applies for coaching. So even looking back in sports, there's always an individual that's going to help push you outside your comfort zone. But now here's where guys fail. Typically in their late 20s, maybe early 30s, they obviously find, their significant other. Then they eventually have get a house, maybe, get a comfortable 9 to 5 job, and then they, have a family, which is obviously great, right? You want that. That's what I think everybody strives for. But what happens? We stop playing the game of life. If you think about it, right? Playing back in sports, there's all these different people to kind of help you out. Different coaches, right? I'll put it to you like this: baseball. Your T-ball coach when you first got started off is not the same coach that you had playing high school baseball. You work your way up, different coaches, right? But every single coach, they're going to help you in a form of, hey, how do we get you to the next level? And sometimes that means it's making some adjustments, it's making some tweaks, but it's also pushing you outside your comfort zone. With that being said, a coach is never, right, that you sign up for baseball, they're never going to have you play football or play basketball, a whole different sport than the sport that you signed up for. So when it comes to finding out these people that's in your corner that you're looking for, maybe if you're looking to like improve on your health and fitness journey or whatever, right? A business coach even, like you want to make sure that they're one, credible. But at the same time, really focus on having some people in your corner, whether it's a coach or whether it's just people that's really holding you accountable. They need to make sure that they are constantly challenging you and helping you feel comfortable and confident enough to step outside your own comfort zone. Because when you mix having an ego, knowing that, hey, I got this all, I know what to do, I don't need any help, YouTube's free, Google's free, mixed in with the comfort zone, and your comfort zone, it's the bad wolf in my opinion, right? Everybody has their own definition and terminology of the bad wolf. To me, it's the comfort zone and it's the ego, right? That comfort zone might be telling you like, hey, we could wait until after the holidays. What's funny is like yesterday, right, was Thanksgiving. The gym was packed, crowded. Like Me and my buddy had a hard time actually working out and getting to our gym routine, our workout because of how busy it was. And then today, nobody there, like not a soul. And I always say it like this: successful people do what they have to do, whether they feel like it or not. Okay? Who is in your corner helping you outside your comfort zone? So many times your comfort zone is the ones that's saying, hey, I got this. I don't need help. YouTube's free. Google's free. Half the time, right, that comfort zone is telling you, oh, we can just wait until the holidays. That comfort zone is always telling you, hey, we'll get started on Monday. And then what happens? There's an excuse. And then the following Monday, there's another excuse. And then the following Monday, there's another excuse. So this is the main reason why most guys fail. Not just in their health and fitness journey, but in anything. Anytime that you have success in life, there's always somebody behind the scenes that you don't see. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, you know how many trainers he had and different coaches that helped him every step of the way? You also realize here that Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. He had this team, right? It wasn't just, Michael Jordan won against, 5 when he's versing, the Detroit Pistons. He had teammates. He had people in his corner. And it's also takes the pressure off. I mean, I have an amazing team that helps me, right? So much so that I couldn't do this all by myself. I would have ran myself thin and just that's it, right? You need people in your corner. But here's the thing. Most guys, right? What happens is they stop playing the game of life. And this is ultimately why they fail. And this is why I can always see just by looking at an individual and I can tell. And yeah, I'm judging that person for sure. Because if I can see that they have this big old dad bod, this man boob, they're over 30% body fat, right? One, odds are they have no discipline at all. If they are, pause, right? That was mean. Let me refrain and say that again. If this person is, the dad bod, the man boobs, right? Over 35% body fat, whatever the case may be. And month after month, they're exactly the same. Year after year, they're exactly the same. Or potentially their body fat is getting higher and higher and higher. Then I'm ultimately judging that person. And I can say, hey, based on your work ethic, on what you do to your own body, you have no discipline. I don't know many people out there that are very successful in career, in their, relationships, all that stuff. And they have just the not the body stature of somebody that is, putting their health first, if that makes sense. Okay. And I know that's pretty harsh to say, but reality is like this. I mean, when you got married to your significant other, I'm sure you probably looked a lot different, right? And so whatever happened to the old you? Honestly, like that individual that had more energy, they were outgoing, they liked working on themselves. Don't you think that spouse wants the old you back? Don't you think they deserve the old you? Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, that's very attractive. When a man knows what he wants and is making sure that each and every day he's stepping one step outside his comfort zone in alignment with where it is that he's trying to get to. If you're just like, hey, this bum that's just sitting there eating Cheetos all day, drinking beer and, watching Netflix movies, dead tired because you can't do anything after work, you think that's attractive? Let alone, I mean, especially if you have kids, what are you teaching them? How are you reading? How are you really leading by example? All they're going to do is follow through in your footsteps. So why do most guys fail? Well, it's simple. They have these egos. I know what to do. I know what to do. I know what to do. Right? Well, the reality is, one, you don't really know what to do, or else you would have done it. Two, you're lazy and you love living inside your comfort zone, and so that's why you constantly make up excuses. Three, look at yourself. And honestly, this is a hard pill to swallow. And I had to swallow that pill back when I was in a toxic relationship, and I had to look at myself and say, what's the issue here? And it had nothing to do with other people, loving me or not loving me. It had everything to do with me not loving myself. But when I peeled back the layers and I dug a little deep and I got emotional and mentally with myself and I figured out what's the root of the issue, boom, It was that light bulb effect because now I can work on that. So, what I challenge you to do, right? We're coming up here. Remember, the reason why I'm talking about this, as well as what I'm going to be talking about next week in the podcast, is because I want you thinking differently. I can give you guys all the tips, the tricks on how to burn body fat. Once again, Heartletics.com. We have a free fat loss guide, these 7 essential fat loss habits for success. If you followed that, you wouldn't be fat, lazy, or broke. I promise you that. If you watch the free training that goes along with it, you wouldn't be fat, lazy, or broke. I can promise you that. But the reality is, why is it that you can't follow it? And not just following it during the good times, but why is it that you can't follow it during the hard times when life throws you curveballs? Why is it that you always give up and go back to your old ways? Your ego and the fact that you're living inside your comfort zone and you became so compliant and complacent with living in there, you don't know what it's like to challenge yourself. So what I want you to do, right? It's Friday right now. We have the whole weekend ahead. Everybody's going around shopping for, the latest deals and, their presents for their spouses and, their kids for Christmas and the holidays and whatnot. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, we even have, a holiday special going on at Heartletics right now where people are literally just applying left to right, getting their foot in the door, because I think guys are starting to wake up. And I think guys are really starting to realize here that, okay, I got to put myself first. And that's the first action step for you is you got to take ownership. You got to take commitment. This is your life. Nobody's going to hold a gun to your head and force you to do anything, right? But realistically, you should do that to yourself. If you want to get to where you're trying to get to in life, in terms of your health and fitness goals, in terms of career success, abundance, wealth, anything, you got to burn the bridges. You got to burn the boats. You got to set off the sail, get out far and way out there into your comfort zone and just embrace the unknown and burn the bridges, burn the boats behind you and stop looking back. Because every time you look back, it's just going to be an excuse. Oh, I couldn't do this and I couldn't start on Monday because X, Y, Z, right? Oh, this happened with my kids. Oh, this happened with my spouse. Oh, this happened at work. Oh, I just don't feel like it. Oh, I have a headache. Man, I tell you what, the past few days, I had a horrible migraine. Did that stop me from working? Did that stop me from going to the gym? Did that stop me from recording a podcast? Last week, I'm literally coughing up blood because I have no voice. Did that stop me? No. Why? Work ethic, discipline. And most guys fail because they constantly feed that bad wolf. The ego, the comfort zone, whatever it is that you want to call it. But I promise you this, there is never going to be success inside your comfort zone. There's never going to be the life that you want by constantly feeding the ego because there's no discipline. If you want to achieve anything in life, whether it's burning 50 pounds of body fat, getting six-pack abs, maybe potentially getting off your blood pressure and cholesterol medications or reversing your type 2 diabetes, it's going to require you to step outside your comfort zone. And it's going to require you to, one, have ownership and commitment saying, okay, enough is enough. And you got to burn the bridges. You can't look back. Anything, right, that is worth having in life, it's going to require discipline. It's going to require commitment. And it's going to require a mindset that is like no other. Because at the end of the day, you cannot get to, let me pause. I want everybody to write this down. Put this as your affirmation or whatever, right on your whiteboard that you can see as a daily reminder. You cannot get to where you want to get to in life with the same thoughts, the same habits that got you to where you are right now. I want to share a little story with my buddy Nick. Right? He's my best friend. I love the guy to death. Honestly, he's like a long lost brother. Like, I truly do appreciate him, his family, everything. Like, what he does for me on a personal note is just, I'll say it like this. It's loyalty, But here's the thing. Eventually, right, I want to hire Nick. I want to get him on board with Heartletics. I want him to stop his 9-to-5 job because he loves to help out people so much, right? And every time we talk, it's such a deep personal conversation. And I remember, right, that I can just see him slowly but surely adapting, asking different questions, thinking differently. He wasn't like this 6 months ago. He wasn't like this 3 months ago. He wasn't like this 2 weeks ago. Every single day, he's slowly changing. Not just, obviously, he's working out with me and whatnot, but he's changing his thoughts. He's changing his daily actions. He's changing his habits. And the reason why I love this guy to death is because, one, he's a former police officer. He loves to serve. He loves to help people out. Now he's working, a 9 to 5, sitting behind a desk. And I can just tell he does not like his job because he loves to generally help people out. And that's who we try to acquire at Heartletics. It's called Heartletics for a reason, right? It's people that want to help out each other. All the coaches that we have on staff, they treat Heartletics like it's their own. They want to help out others. And so the conversations that I always have with Nick, it's hard for him. I'm sure it is, right? Because at the same time, the thoughts that got him to where he is today, it's not going to get him the life that where he wants to get to. And sometimes I have to stop him in his tracks and say, hey, brother, listen, stop thinking like that. You have to change the way that you think. You have to change the way that you do different things, and you have to change the words that you say. I talk about a few days ago, affirmations and whatnot, but also listening about a self-hypnosis, hypnosis guy. He says that the words that we say, it's almost like a trance. And so I even personally took a big thing off of that where I stopped saying I want, and instead I say I prefer. So I prefer to have more coaches. I prefer to have more, Heartletics members. I prefer to have X, Y, and Z because it's all about the impact, right? It's all about helping out others, but also it gets your brain thinking differently. And so I want to challenge you. This comfort zone that you're in right now, what are your daily thoughts? What are your daily habits? At the end of the day, realistically, if you don't like the way that you look right now, if you don't like your life, if you don't like whatever the case may be, your habits, your thoughts, your words has put you in this position right now. Now, that might be harsh and you probably don't like hearing that, but remember, you always have to look at it as the glass being half full rather than half empty. You can always change your life. You're one decision away from a completely different life. And I promise you this, it's not going to start off by doing X, Y, and Z, right? It's all going to start off with the way that you think. And once you start thinking differently and saying different words, that's what's going to bleed off into different actions, right? Those different actions and behaviors, that's going to bleed off into different habits. Once you have different habits, your life is going to change. All the guys that sign up for our coaching program, they know that. They absolutely know that. Because at the end of the day, what Heartletics isn't just, burn some body fat. You got personalized meal plans, personalized workouts, personalized check-ins. No. It has everything to do with helping guys become leaders. I'll say it like this. There's a lot of guys out there, right? 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, but that doesn't make you a man. Having a kid doesn't make you a man, right? Like having a nice cushy job doesn't make you a man. What makes you a man is what you're willing to do behind closed doors when no one's watching. A lot of people, right, like to talk the talk. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'll get started after the holidays. I'll get started on Monday. But remember, to me, integrity is doing the right things when no one else is looking. So what are you doing behind closed doors? Are you willing to step outside your comfort zone? Are you willing to put the ego aside, the bad wolf, and just say, hey, at the end of the day, I need to be a little bit more open-minded because I don't really know what I'm doing here? I promise you that, right? Like that is going to immediately help you out instantly. Because why? You're going to start feeding the good wolf. So the reason why most guys fail in anything in life is because they're constantly feeding that ego, constantly feeding that bad wolf, constantly living inside that comfort zone. Now, once again, the beauty of all this is you're one decision away from a completely different life. Different thoughts, different words, different behaviors, different habits. You can have a completely different life, and we see it time and time again with the members that sign up for our coaching program and they graduate. Completely different person. They honestly come in as just a regular guy, right? Maybe in their mid 40s, mid 50s, mid 60s. They leave, right? A leader. And that's the difference. That's the key. Heartletics is turning men into leaders. But now here's the thing. How do you do that realistically? Well, one, you can try to do this all on your own, and that's fine. You can definitely have success, but I'll say it like this. From a business perspective, right? I needed business coaches to help me run a business. I needed people to teach me, right, firsthand, how nutrition works, how strength and conditioning works, how personal training works. I didn't just come out the womb understanding how to do all that, right? And at the same time, I needed a coach to change my mindset, right? So maybe you need people in your corner to help you out. And hey, if that's you, all I got to say is we're running this holiday special right now over at Heartletics. You can just either send me over an email at heartletics@gmail.com, send me over a text message if you got my number, contact me on Instagram, Facebook, join our free Facebook group, anything like that. In fact, I'll probably put it up on the website as well about our special, but I'm trying to not keep it as broad out there because, hey, at the end of the day, spots are limited. And we're only looking for guys that are truly committed to becoming leaders, not just for themselves, most importantly for their families. Because at the end of the day, once again, I'm selfish. I'm raising a 3-year-old child right now. This is not the best world to be living in. So I got to do my own to make sure that I'm leading by example. Actions speak louder than words. And if I'm able to change somebody else's life and help them become a better leader for them and their families, guess what? That's what's going to make the world a better place. And that's all I truly want with Heartletics. So if you guys have any questions, find a way to contact me, shoot me over a message. And with that being said, I just really hope that you guys got some value. Remember, at the end of the day, most guys fail just because, one, they got these big old egos. They think they know what they should be doing. And remember, your thoughts, your words, your habits is exactly why you either look the way that you do right now or you are currently right now in your situation in your life. And the only way to change your life is by first changing your thoughts, changing your words, and most importantly, changing your behaviors, changing your habits. Now, the reason why most guys instantly see a change over at Heartletics, like Jason, who I talked about yesterday on the podcast, is because birds of a feather flock together. You hang around with losers in life, you're going to become a loser. Hang around with winners in life, you're going to become a winner. Jason, he joined the wolf pack. He joined Heartletics. When you have hundreds of guys and all these coaches that's helping you step outside your comfort zone, that's teaching you how to do this, guess what? Putting yourself into that environment is going to instantly fast track your success. Why? Because it's going to shift your identity. And you're going to start to see that all these guys are no different from you. The only thing that different is different thoughts, different words, different habits. Guys, with that being said, this has been Coach Joe with the Heartletics podcast. I hope you guys got some value in us. Always, if you did, go ahead, share this with a friend, family member, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.